This right here is an AI-powered 2-axis gimbal webcam that's only going for $100, which is absolutely insane, and it's from the company OBSBOT, and this right here is the Tiny SE. Let's get into it. What is going on, you guys? We're going to be taking a look at a new webcam from the company OBSBOT. This right here is the Tiny SE. It is an AI-powered 2-axis gimbal webcam, and the crazy thing about this is that it's only going for $100, which is an insane, affordable price point. And I've been saying this for a while now. Webcams are now getting much more affordable while also being much better video quality, which is absolutely insane. And for what the features and the specs that this offers is nuts. This does 1080p of up to 100 FPS, which is insane and really unheard of when it comes to webcams, especially at this price point. And just to let you guys know right now, you guys are looking at the video quality coming directly from the Tiny SE. It's being hooked up to my OBS studio on my PC and recorded directly into my computer. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below as far as the video quality goes. But yeah, we're gonna dive into it. We're gonna take a look at what it all has to offer, talk about the specs, the features, and let's get right into it. So before we get into the video, a couple things I do want to mention is that OBSBOT did come out with 2 webcams at the same time. The Tiny SE that we're going to be taking a look at right now, but also the Meet SE. And I had the opportunity to check out both of them. And so by the time that this video is out, there's a video also on the Meet SE. So I'm gonna have a link down in the description below so that you guys can go check that out as well. And this one's even more affordable, which is insane. So definitely go check that out. And also, this entire video is being shot and edited in 1080p. Since this webcam is capped at 1080p, it doesn't do 4K or anything like that. Everything that is that you guys are looking at is shot and edited in 1080p because I don't want to do any upscaling and lose quality when it comes to that. So just want to let you guys know as far as that goes. Any B-roll and stuff like that that is shot on my actual cameras is going to be shot in 1080p 60 frames so that you guys are not looking at 4K being downscaled to 1080p and comparing that to the webcam quality. So I just want to let you guys know right then and there. But without further ado, let's get right into it. Now diving into what comes with the OBSBOT Tiny SE, you get the user manual, a USB-C to C cable, a USB Type-C to A adapter, and the Tiny SE webcam itself. It has a USB Type-C port on the back and a 1/4-inch thread on the bottom to mount it onto whatever you like. It also has a built-in mount to easily put it on top of a monitor or laptop screen. Now the Tiny SE uses a 1/2 0.8-inch stacked CMOS sensor with an aperture of f1.8 and it has a dual native ISO, so with all of that combined, the webcam performs very well in low light environment, having a very low noise and grainy footage. And this is great for gamers because they typically like to stream with very little light and it still looks good, and most webcam footage is not full screen and is around an overlay or as a face cam, so you're gonna still have a lot of detail, and 1080p in my opinion is plenty for live streaming. Speaking of the resolution, the crazy feature that this webcam has is that it could do 1080p at 100 FPS, which is insane and very rare to see, especially at a price point like this. At first, I didn't think that 100 FPS was necessary, but when it comes to motion and if you move around a lot, it looks very smooth while keeping the detail, and that's where I could see the importance of using 100 FPS. Now you could drop it down to 60 FPS for whatever reason and it still looks very good and more natural. You could even drop it down to 30 FPS and that's when you notice the choppiness of the motion and the loss of sharpness and clarity. Now the crazy thing is that you can even drop it down to 720p and go up to 120 FPS to get even smoother motion and clarity. So if you don't stream with the webcam in full screen and you just have it like as a face cam, then this is still gonna show plenty of detail for most people. Keep in mind that it does crop in a bit at 720p. Now this also has a nice field of view of 78 degrees, which I believe is plenty for most people's setups and what to showcase. Now of course the Tiny SE is fully compatible with the OBSBOT Center software where you can control and fully set up the webcam to your liking. One of the major features that I love about the OBSBOT webcams is the fact that you can control its ISO, shutter speed, and white balance manually like you would with an actual camera. So if I want to match my shutter speed with the 100 FPS, I would need the shutter speed to be twice as much, which is 1/200th of a second, and I could do that in the settings. And for my setup, I need the ISO to be around 200 to 300, and that looks the best. I also have the white balance match with my Elgato key light and ring light, which is about 5600 Kelvin. So I just set the webcam to that and you get amazing colors and skin tone accuracy. And again, it's amazing to have this type of quality for just $99. Now, when it comes to the AI human tracking, using the OBSBOT Center, you can select the upper body and this will zoom into you from the chest up, There's also the close-up, which is a bit more punched in and works better if you're walking a bit farther away. They both tracked me very well and kept me in the frame. Whether I went farther or closer to the camera, left and right, or even crouching, it still tracked me, and when you add that 100 FPS, the footage looks so smooth, clear, and detailed. There's also a headless mode that will follow the person's body below the head, and I could see this being used when you're showcasing a product or clothing if that's the content that you cover in your videos or streaming. There is also a lower body mode that will follow the person's body around the waist, and again, I could see this being used when you're doing videos and content on clothing and you want to showcase what you're wearing. And lastly, there is a hand tracking feature that will automatically track either your right or left hand, and you could pick which one in the software, and it's pretty accurate and it doesn't get confused on which hand to track. I could see this being used when it comes to showcasing a product during a video or live stream. Now, the Tiny SE also has gesture controls, like for example, when you show your hand, it will begin to track you, and when you show it again, it'll stop. If you make an L shape with your hand, it'll zoom into the amount that you set it to, like for example, I have mine set to 2x zoom, and when you show it again, it'll zoom out to how you had it previously. And last is the dynamic zoom, and you need to form an L shape with both hands, and when you move them apart, the webcam will recognize to zoom in, and the farther your hands are, the more zoomed in it goes. Doing it the opposite way, it'll zoom out to the amount that you want. These gesture controls helps with what you want to do faster without the need to go into the center software, and for gamers and streamers, the Tiny SE also works with the Elgato Stream Deck, and you could easily enable tracking and have up to 3 presets, like one being more zoomed in, another one to show a much wider angle, and another for if you're standing while gaming, for example. It just makes it so much easier and quicker to do the actions that you want. Now, the last major feature that I want to talk about is the autofocus. To bring down the cost of the webcam, they needed to sacrifice a bit on the autofocus. This doesn't use any phase detection autofocus like you see on the Tiny 2 Lite or all pixel AF on the Tiny 2. It just has regular AF, and for the most part, it works, but it does take a while to catch the focus on the item that's in the foreground, and sometimes it hunts a bit and does a little bit of the warping effect and focus breathing, so it's not a smooth transition when you want it to focus on yourself and then on another subject compared to phase detection autofocus. So that's honestly the only major drawback that I have and can hopefully get worked on and fixed with a future firmware update. I have really liked using the Tiny SE when it comes to streaming, and the quality is plenty for Twitch, YouTube, and Kick. It tracks me very well, and I can comfortably move around my studio and know that it's keeping me in focus, and you can't beat the price point for what it has to offer and the video quality. So I have overall been very happy and impressed with how the Tiny SE has been performing when it comes to streaming, and of course the tracking. So you guys are seeing right now I'm using the close-up tracking, and it is just following me very well. It is keeping me in the frame, it's keeping me pretty much centered, it's automatically zooming in and all that, and for it to be only $100 is absolutely insane. And I love the quality that OBSBOT has and that they're very known for when it comes to the color reproduction, you know, the skin tone accuracy, all the colors in the background that's happening, you know, stuff like that. I'm really happy with how it overall does. Now, when it comes to shooting 1080p at 100 FPS, I didn't think that 100 FPS was really necessary when it comes to streaming, but when you're including the gimbal and the tracking and you're moving around a lot, that's when it really comes down to being really beneficial when it comes to movement and making sure that the motion is still smooth and all that. So if I'm walking back and forth, I'm moving around and all that, and I'm doing all sorts of things, that's definitely going to be very beneficial because you're not going to get so much blurriness when it comes to recording. Now, of course, if you're just sitting down and gaming, then the 100 FPS isn't fully necessary. So it really comes down to what you plan to use this webcam for and what the content that you're creating, you know. Now, one of the major things that I am a little bit bummed out about is the autofocus. Now, they did have to sacrifice a little bit on the autofocus. It doesn't have that phase detection autofocus like some of the other webcams have, and it doesn't have the all pixel autofocus as well. So it just has a regular autofocus. So it is gonna hunt a little bit. It is gonna give you that little warping effect, and you probably saw it a few times in this video. So whenever I add a subject or I cut in and out, you can see that it's doing that warping effect, which is a little bit distracting and it's a little bit annoying, and it's not as professional when it comes to phase detection autofocus or any other type of autofocus. It's a little bit more smoother transition. It doesn't do that little warping effect. So that is a con when it comes to the autofocus. That is something that they really did need to sacrifice when it comes to cutting down that price point. But honestly, when it comes to the price point, the Tiny SE only going for $100 and having it be an AI-powered PTZ webcam is absolutely insane, and still offering some key features like 1080p at up to 100 FPS is unheard of when it comes to this price point. And then one of the major things I didn't get to try out because this is an unreleased model is HDR. This does have HDR, and so I'm really curious on how that's gonna look like, but trying out the Meet 2 and the Tail Air, I'm pretty sure that the HDR is gonna be amazing as well. So there you guys have it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below when it comes to the Tiny SE. Let me know if you guys have any questions or concerns. Let me know down in the comments below, and everything is going to be linked down in the description below. Like I said, going for $100, webcams are getting a lot more affordable and a lot better when it comes to the quality, and you don't have to be spending so much money to improve your streaming quality. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate all your support. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, and TikTok at tech_HD1, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace!